Welcome to Fear with Christine Spratley. Living like a head in charge, the podcast where Christine says fear, questions everything, and takes bold action. Christine Spratley is a former professional boxer, nanny, and 29-plus year corporate warrior turned founder of HBIC Advisors, where she is a public speaker and coach. She's been saying fear her whole life, many times without even realizing it. So tune in, spread the word, and get ready, because this isn't about aging with grace. It's about aging with mischief, audacity, and having a damn good story to tell.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Welcome to Fuck Fear with Christine Spratley. No shots today, Joe.
Yeah, no shots. That's okay.
We were running a little bit behind. I have to tell you, I moved to Cary, and I haven't and don't talk about, well, we've talked about how I drive. I drive fast. I like going fast. I don't necessarily need to get there quicker. I just don't, and I don't even know, well, I do like going fast, but I really hate slow. So that's just kind of my baseline. But I have lived in North Carolina for 18 years, a little over 18 years, right? And I have never gotten a ticket. And I can say that now because I got a ticket yesterday. And it was funny because I was talking with someone and they're like, oh, that's karma. And I'm like, I will take that karma, because if I have, 18 years is a long time for karma to come back and hit me. Like if I had a lot of grace period in there, You know what I mean? So if karma's going to hit me again in 18 years, I'm okay with that, And I have another friend that she says, that's all your good living catching up to you. That's what she calls karma. Oh, your good living catching up to you. But ladies, gentlemen, and like I said, everybody in between, today's episode, I have, as you know, this is for your pantry. I was talking with someone the other night, and I said to them, I'm gonna input or enforce or put into play my 21-7 rule. And this is something I completely made up. But it works, and it works really well. And I've actually, for this episode, I actually talked to, my counselor, and I did some research on, is this a good idea? Before I throw this out to y'all, I'm just, is it valid or is it just craziness? So put this in your pantry, take it out, use it. You can mix it up and do whatever you want with it. But the basis of this is that when I go through something, and it could be I'm pissed off if somebody pisses me off at work, or a girlfriend does this, or in my case, I'm going through a divorce. Guess what? That's going through something, and that's on my mind. And in particular, this week, I did my divorce mediation. And so that was a big thing. And it was an all-day thing. And it was a big, hairy, just... And left me with a lot of stuff to process. So I met with my therapist, and I have some girlfriends and guy friends, and I spent a couple days, and actually I was not going to do this today, and but I did, and I worked through some things, and I know it's going to go through me and everything. Like, that's the thing. You can't take 2 days off and go, okay, I'm going to feel all my feelings in 2 days, and I'm going to be back in action, and I'm just going to, it hits you when it hits you. But the 21-7 rule, what this does for me is when I've gone and I've worked, like therapy is important to me, but also some of my friends that really have good sound perspectives on life. When I go there, I allow myself to talk about it and go through it and work through things. The 21-7 rule, though, means when I'm outside of that and I want to, and I feel it and it hits me, and I want to start telling you, blah, 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 and I want to go into it and go into it and go into it. What it does is that becomes, you can say resentment but rumination of it. I am sending myself. It's the repetitive thinking about distressing, issues without the resolution. It's just a regurgitation of the event. Because we've all done this at work, I think. where, someone pisses us off and I'm still talking about it 5 days later. And I'm rethinking and reliving that issue without any resolution. And so what this helps me do is it stops that shit. So the rule is, once I've worked through the core issue, or I've, whether that is, and maybe it's addressing it at work, maybe it's an argument you had with your spouse, maybe it's going through divorce mediation and you talk to your therapist. But once I've started doing that and I'm in that, I say to myself, and this is the limit, I get 21 minutes a day, max, to talk about it. And if you can't see me, I just did the hand thing. So anybody who's not watching YouTube's like, she was quiet. It's because, you want with your hand. I get 21 minutes a day. I get 7 times to do it and 3 minutes max per time I do it. And what's funny is I can, and this is with people, this doesn't include like journaling or, kind of meditating about it. And it also does not include if you've got a therapist and you're like, I need to talk about this. But this is my own little thing about, think about it like this. You go out in your day and you interact with all these people, and you can interact with them in ways of, hey, I'm going to talk about this crappy thing that makes me feel crappy, or you can, hey, what are you doing today? But you don't have to carry the dog shit around and put it in every pile that you go to, in every yard that you go to. And so this helps me because sometimes I get like that, and I think other people do too. I don't know, Joe, do you ever resend yourself events like savor the bad, not the badness, but the it's that savoring of the turd, I'll call it.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
And so this is what it is. And it gives me permission to go ahead and talk about it, but it stops me from continually bringing that energy, not only to myself, but to other people. Because that's the other thing I've realized is that when I'm going through something and I have this overwhelming anger or fear or agitation, if I am in it, if I am around another person and they've got a different energy, that tends to, and I interact on that level and not my shit level, that tends to change my energy. Good example. I got up on, it was Tuesday was the mediation. I got up on, I went to bed at 3 a.m. and because I just had so much energy and I was just, and then I got up at 4:30 because I woke up, and which gave me an hour sleep. So I was extremely exhausted. And I was like, I'm canceling everything this week. I'm shutting down. I'm taking care of myself. And there was one thing I couldn't cancel. And it was actually something silly. I mean, I could have canceled it, but it really couldn't because it was the dog's annual shots. And I had missed my appointment, and they go into, anyway, I had to do it. And it was a big deal. So I kept it. And Joe, I even texted you and said, I'm not coming in. We're not going to do this. And I got up, felt like shit, got up, put my baseball cap on, put my lipstick on, threw some leggings on and a t-shirt, put the pups in the car, and I drove to the vet. And my energy, because they're great with the dogs, they're great with me, and it's Hidden Valley Veterinarian in Raleigh if you ever want to go to a great vet, amazing groomer too. But again, I was around that energy, and we didn't talk about this because I knew I only had 7 slots and I didn't want to use that slot. That's not where I wanted to use it. And it was amazing because it helped me immediately after that. I think I texted you and said, never mind, we're back on. I'm ready to go. Now, does that mean that I shoved the rest of my emotions down and I don't have any of that shit? No. But again, it was me saying, okay, I got 7 slots here. Do I want to use that? And do I want to take that negative energy and put it into their world, which, and it was funny because I'm sarcastic enough that I can just be ornery about it and not talk about it and make it light and happy and joking because that's the way I am with them. So why is this important? Why is this so effective? And anybody that has any sort of relationship with a therapy, and when I say relationship, knows about it or has been through it or uses it, works with cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is the thought stopping part of that, of CBT. And it's a core technique, and it's literally setting the limits, reduces the rumination. I'm replacing the open-endedness of it. And that's the other thing is I'm corralling, I kind of think about it when I was a nanny. It's like you corral the kids, you don't give them any, the option to go there. And that's what this does it's a self-imposed limit of, just ruminating about this without any guidance, and without any resolution. Now, there's a difference between rumination and reflection. Rumination is circular. And we've all seen the hamster on the wheel, just circular. But it's literally this circular motion. So if it feels bad once, it's going to come down and feel bad again because there's nothing that has changed about it. Reflection has a frame. It has a start and a stopping point. Rumination is just, it is literally like sucking on, savoring a turd. Like when you think about the weather's caramel and, you just savor that and you just suck on that. Or a Jolly Rancher. Rumination is doing that with something that tastes like shit. And it's sending that back. So what this does is this allows me to emotional regulation plus kind of like executive function. I structure the routine of when I'm going to talk about it. And this also requires me to, I'm going to talk about it with my friend Inya. What am I going to say? Rather than just writing the emotion into the conversation, that mother, blah, 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 blah. I felt this way or I feel like shit. And I do sometimes start off like that, but I tend to bring more thought about what I want to say in this conversation because it's one of the 7. And it's funny, I'll be honest. Sometimes I back all the 7 up together and I lump them all together. But then I'm done. I don't get to touch that. I don't get to put that turd in my mouth again. I know that sounds like so nasty, but think about it. Think about how much we give ourselves that.
Your event doesn't just need a host. It needs a ringmaster of energy. Christine Spratley reads the room and keeps the momentum rolling like a damn orchestra conductor. With insight, humor, and a splash of mischief, she'll make sure your event isn't just organized, it's electric. After Christine takes the stage, your audience will be fully present, fired up, and not scrolling on their phones. Book her now at christinespratley.com.
What are you carrying around from this morning? Or what did you carry into today? And are you reflecting on it and going, okay, there's a start and there's a stop and I'm going to, or is it, oh my God, I'm still pissed. And it's just this, and it's not even I'm pissed and acknowledging of the emotion. It is a reliving of that event with no stopping point. And, instead of like getting on and texting and repeating the whole story, take your 3-minute rant to your bestie, to your auntie, and just let it go and then be done with it. But, I think this allows me to say, hey, I'm still got it. I'm still pissed. I'm still hurt. I'm still whatever. And give yourself that permission to pass over it and get it out. And then use your rest of your 23 hours or your 20, whatever. How many minutes is that? I know I've got it in here because I wrote it down. I actually did. That's what's kind of funny is that I wrote it down how many minutes of the day you would have left. But that allows that to happen. And I think where it helps for me is the thought process of how am I going to use this today? And I will tell you on Wednesday is a hell of a lot different than how I'm using it today. When I use those 21 minutes or 21 minutes. It is very, very different. It's more, and I don't want to say thoughtful, but it's more strategic because I'm not just looking for it to get to, like I'm looking for something in return, an answer. And it's working through something rather than just being led by. And I think the first thing for you to do or for me to do is always identify what am I resending this? I was heard that a lady that was in AA in Texas, in Dallas, when I was there, we were taking care of her because she was, very, very ill. And she said that worry is concern gone compulsive. And that is what I want to do is I'll go, okay, what is taking up my space in my brain, in my verb, vocabulary, what's coming out, and identify it. And then I go, okay, that's 21/7 rule, putting that tag on there. And then I track them. And what's funny is that I will track it, and then, a week goes by and I haven't used all of them. I got some left. I got some slots left. And then a month goes by. What's also interesting, because I'll track it for long periods of time, because again, you don't get it all out. What I've learned is that, say I'm dealing with something, I work through it, I'm down to maybe if I'm talking about it at all, maybe I'm down to 1 or 2 and minutes, or not minutes, but slots. And I go start having something over there that causes fear in my life, or I start having less confidence, or I start, something else impacts me. I tend to, because I've tracked this, I tend to talk about that again. I use more slots. And that's one of those things where it's like I start focusing more on negative. And this helps me see that pattern, because I didn't know I did that. I didn't know that when one thing is negative, I tend to go, ooh, and relive and pull back, even if I've worked through it. Or it triggers an emotion that was similar to the emotion that I had with that other event. So it allows me to see how I react to not that person, but that emotion that I had through that event, and track that in my life. And I really like that. I really think that I need guidelines. I need, I need the structure so I can allow myself to go through it, but not drowned in it, and it's not even wallow, because I think when I'm wallowing, I know, and usually it's something like me, I just kind of, but this is what I'm talking about. And then what I think is also nice is once you've done that, once you've tracked, honor it, celebrate it, celebrate that you put this in this box and the week or whatever. And then at the end of, for me, I do it 2 weeks. I look back and I go, okay, where am I at with this? I've got how many times I've used it. I've thought about it. I've got whatever type of process that you go through. Sit back and look. There's a quote by Seneca, and as you know, I practice Stoicism, and it says, the quote is, "We suffer more in imagination than reality." And this is where I hope you understand that, or I get to understand that I control my imagination. And I can sit there and again, put this in my head, but that's past. So it's not the reality of today. It's not that the emotion isn't the reality, but that situation is. And when I relive it and relive it, but if I am around other energy, is that emotion really there, or am I inserting it in there? I think that for me, I strive for a state of being content with myself and trusting my path. And part of that, a big part of that, is doing that without being distracted by the events of others, of how others are living their lives, which means how it impacts me, which is typically the event that I'm, limited. And I do that by saying, I don't get to just sit with this all day long, because I'm not content when I do that. I am not going to be consumed by the wounds that are still healing. That is not my own path. That is someone else's. I'm not going to sit there and look at it and regurgitate it. I'm going to allow myself to process whatever pain, whatever anger, whatever the emotion is. I'm allowing myself to tell my story. I'm choosing to do it. I'm doing it with force and vigor. And I hate the word authenticity, but authenticity. But it doesn't become my story, my whole story. It doesn't become my whole world. This is a 21-minute shot. I then get to build something better for the rest of the story, the rest of the history. I get 23 hours and 39 minutes of my day to use my imagination in a way that doesn't make me suffer, but actually allows me not only to be content, but to have joy. So when you listen to this, I literally want you to think about that. And you can use different numbers. I use 21/7. But how can you put something that is, instead of resending you this turd and all the time, carve it out and say, okay, I'm going to use this here. I'm going to use that there, and then set it down, and then enjoy the rest of your life, the rest of your day. Because this is the other thing. I don't get this day back. So again, when I got up that morning, Wednesday morning, I literally was like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I'm exhausted. I felt and I thought, I don't get this day back. So I can spend it sitting in bed, laying in bed. And it would have been great because the dogs were there. And it would have been comfy and maybe that's, but I don't get it back. So what am I going to use my 23 hours and 39 minutes? How can I use that to give me joy in my day? So this is something in your pantry. I hope it's helpful. If it's not, don't use it. But go find something that is helpful and pass this along to someone else and say, hey, have you thought about it? Figure out how you would tweak it. These are things that literally get me through my day, whether it be work, whether it be friends, relationships like that, whether it be going to your family, your in-laws. Mine were great. But think about it, because you don't need to use your imagination to suffer. You get to use it for joy and contentment, but you also get to process your pain and have it be part of your story, but just not the whole story. You are bigger than this. You are more than this. I am. I am more than my divorce. I am more than my marriage. And that is amazing to really understand. So give yourself that gift And until next time, Tubbs.
Thanks for tuning in to Fear with Christine Spratley, living like a head in charge. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, tell her what topics you want to hear, and share this episode with someone who could use a pantry full of boldness in their life. Remember, life isn't about aging with grace. It's about aging with mischief, audacity, and having a damn good story to tell. So show up, take action, and keep saying fear.